might be his next move, but whatever it is, good luck to Kieran Foran. Jared Hayne has missed out on selection for Fiji's Rugby Sevens Olympic squad and has been linked with an NRL return. Hayne quit the NFL earlier this year with the goal of making Fiji's team for Rio. The former Parramatta, New South Wales and Kangaroo is being tipped for a comeback in the NRL. His former club, the Eels, are expected to be his destination if he returns to Rugby League. Just a continued story of abject failure, Jared Hayne's career, really, isn't it? Couldn't make it in the NFL, can't get picked for the Fijian Sevens team. Would anybody touch this toxic prospect, Mark, do you think?
Do you know what I was actually thinking? It's pretty good timing for him to maybe try and get an NRL training squad gig anyway. An NFL, training squad gig. Because it's in the closest you get to a lull all year round in the NFL at the moment.
Right.
They've had the sort of mini camps, and then there's a break before the players return for like pre-season training effectively, which will start in about 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time.
Right.
So in this period, there's nothing going on at all. But if he could get a team for that, he'd be in there training from the start of pre-season. Right. So it gives him a shot like he had last year of making the squad, and it's a long shot. But
how many times do you think he's going to want to go round that merry-go-round, though?
I think he might give it another go. Because if he didn't get a team this time around, he'll still get a bit of money for being involved in a practice squad or a training on squad if he could get that, and I think he could. It showed enough, in my opinion, to get that, and then return to the NRL next year
if it doesn't work out.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'd like to see him do that rather than just
come back straight.
Just go to Parramatta and play.
Yeah. You wonder whether or not Parramatta are in a position to even afford him at the moment. I'm sure they've got like first refusal or some kind of like deal that if he comes back to Rugby League, they get. As far as I understand it,
they still nominally hold his registration, but the NRL, the ARL would refuse to register him unless some of their sort of directors of various positions in the club who've caused these indiscretions with the salary cap down there,
right,
which has now been ratified and the 12 points have been confirmed, and actually the ladder shows them now in the NRL. They would need to sort of own up to their wrongdoings and that sort of stuff,
and then for them
for the NRL to accept that the Eels have taken on board the gross misconduct and failure to follow the operational rules. That has given them the embargo that they're currently under.
Okay. And finally, St Helens have announced that they will donate £10,000 to the St Helens Autism Support Charity, thanks to the fans and businesses that got behind the fantastic special edition autism shirt. The figure was reached through the sales of the autism awareness shirt that Saints wore at the Magic Weekend and the auction of the players' shirts, a golf day and other donations. Tom Jackson from St Helens Autism Support said, "Our charity was created with the twin aims of raising awareness of autism and providing funds for projects within the borough to support local impacted people. Thanks to the supporters, players and staff of St Helens Rugby League Club, we have progressed on both of these aims." So fantastic news there and great work.
It's a nice story to end
the St Helens Club.
Well done there.
It is. Right, okay, let's take a look back now at round 21 of Super League. Right, so to round 21 of Super League then, and it was the State of Mind round, becoming an annual fixture this, and it is a worthwhile charity to talk about in terms of the work it does within the rugby community, both league and union, Mark, isn't it? It's it's doing invaluable work in sort of talking to the pros and being an outlet for people across the board to start talking about how their mental health is and stuff, and that's something that we both feel quite passionately about. So it's
have you seen the full video? So I think there's an abbreviated one with like Willie Iser and John Clark and that, but there's a full one that's got more people in it. It has like Lindsay Prescott in it.
No, I've not seen the full one.
It was shown on Premier Sports during the weekend, like after games or in half times of games. It's well worth a watch. And also catch up on the like Stevie Ward Mentality magazine stuff online as well.
Yeah, that is worth a look.
All linked in together, and it's all about the struggles people can go through in their lives linked to linked with sport and how you don't have to shy away from these struggles.
Yeah, I had a look on the State of Mind website to see about merchandise, because obviously they have all the players in T-shirts and stuff, and I thought, that might be a good thing to, throw a bit of money behind, but I couldn't find a way to access any of that, so I don't know if they're missing a trick a little bit in terms of marketing themselves, but marketing and creating awareness by T-shirts and hats and stuff like that they get the players to wear. Maybe that might be something they could look at doing.
They give them out to all the volunteers, and they did have some spares left over that they were offering out over Twitter, but in terms of maybe raising money for the charity type thing.
Yeah, I logged on with me bank card all shiny, ready to make a purchase, and I was disappointed, so I'll have a look into that and see if there's a way to...
Have you forgotten what you look like?
What, my bank card?
Yeah, well, you are from Yorkshire.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why I say it was shiny, Mark.
Yeah.
I got it out of its sealed container in the dug into the ground outside, and okay. So the first game of State of Mind round was on Thursday night. So Warrington take on Salford. Salford fresh off their points deduction being confirmed. The scoreline was 40 points to 14, which suggests that Salford took a bit of a kicking. But for the first sort of half hour or so, I felt like they made a reasonable fist of it, and in the end it was all too easy for Warrington. But it was some of their more recently unsung players, people like Atkins and Westerman, who had the biggest impact in the game in terms of their try-scoring performances. It's one of the better Westerman performances that I've seen for some time as well. Mark, what did you make of this one?
I thought that Salford's goal line defence was as flimsy as their defence of their points deduction.
Oh, very good, yeah.
And that was the falling down of this game, and really as it dragged on, it became... I'll look up at the TV when they show a replay of Sandow doing something good with a kick, because that was kind of most of what Warrington had to offer anyway.
Yeah.
And Salford, they weren't terrible, and they were in it in the first half.
Yeah. They
really were. But a couple of things didn't go their way. There was the young kid, the former Warrington trainee, Kenny, who came on a hooker, who had that chance that went astray, unfortunately, and that might have closed things up, made things a bit more challenging. And Gareth O'Brien, former Warrington player, couldn't kick a goal to save his life in this game. So I think those issues kind of gave an artificial look to the scoreline at half time and sort of 10-15 minutes after half time, but then Salford just disintegrated, I felt like, and they were already struggling to look like a robust unit on their own defensive line anyway throughout the game. But Warrington all of a sudden started to find it easier to get into that position as well. And it became just like the team with the better players were able to beat the team that just didn't defend very well and on their own goal line, and it wasn't that inspiring a match, unfortunately.
No, that's what I would say too. So what did the numbers tell us though? How did that underline your points?
In a convincing 7-3 try win, possibly the most remarkable stat is a 7-5 clean break win in Salford's favour. So they had 7 clean breaks and Warrington only had 5. Other numbers that were interestingly closer than you'd expect. There was nothing in the tackle success. There was one more error by Wire, but one more penalty given away by Salford, so they evened themselves out. Warrington ended up with 136 more metres off 9 more carries, so that's suggestive of probably a 1-score win more than a 4 or 5 score win that they ended up with. An impressive figure was 2 40-20s for Warrington, only the second time this year a single team has kicked more than one in a game, the other one being Catalan against Leeds Rhinos.
There you go.
So yeah.
Individually then, who stood out for us?
Well, you picked out Joe Westerman, who was particularly involved in the attacking area as well, wasn't he? He had 2 tries, 8 tackle busts, 2 clean breaks. Ryan Atkins keeps playing well, keeps getting involved, scoring tries and stuff when he's playing. This week he had 2 tries that everyone will have seen. He had an average gain of over 15 metres per carry. Matty Russell playing on the wing again, this time moving to the left wing, so showing it doesn't really matter where you put him, he's going to come in, pick up the ball from dummy half and make metres. He grabbed himself a try and 124 metres. Tommy Lynham as well coming back into the side, he got a try on his return, 112 metres. For Lynham, scoring tries hasn't really been the issue with him at Warrington.
You've got to think it's about how he's around the place, perhaps, and his commitment to maybe fitness or something.
That's what you would suspect. I mean,
he scores tries when he comes into the team. That's the thing. He's on like 12 or 15 tries for the season for them. So, yeah.
in a rogues gallery.
Absolutely.
For Salford, we start with Greg Johnson, 146 metres, 2 clean breaks, then convicted spousal abuser Robert Louis, 1 try assist, 102 metres, 2 clean breaks. Then moving to who I would argue, if I was a Salford fan, I'd be voting for this chap as my player of the season. That's George Griffin, 44 tackles, 144 metres. And finally, Mason Caton-Brown on the other wing to Johnson. He got 108 metres. So some strong individual performances, but all in all, just not tough enough.
Yeah,
probably from Salford in this one, unfortunately.
You would hope that that's something that they fix up in terms of mental fortitude, because they're certainly going to need it over the next few weeks, aren't they?
I think they will. I think what I hope is that the owner can put this down and to one side now and not make it a continued storyline pantomime issue that the players have to get rolled up in, the coaching staff have to get rolled up in and asked about time after time after time. Once the middle eight starts, they start on 0 points. And maybe they would have won enough to have got into the top with the 6 points, but to be honest, they could also end up more than 6 points behind the teams in the top 8 without blame the points deduction all you want. This wasn't about the points deduction. This was about flimsy goal line defence.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm sure that they will sort that out. I think there's enough moral fibre within people like Watson, within some of the players in that side, and I'm thinking of guys like Griffin, like Dobson, like Sow and the other Griffin. Do you know? I think there's some real workers, and they've got some players to come back that will boost them as well. I mean, they're playing without Carney at the moment and without Vido. They're playing without Niall Evalds. That's probably their top three
biggest attacking weapons, isn't it?
Strike weapons, yeah.
Well, good luck to them. Okay, feedback on this one then. Sam Rowlett, she got in touch and said, solid performance after a slow start and contending with Joe Cobb, keeping Salford in the game by allowing slow play at the ruck throughout. Far too much made by Sky about Wire's quality and performance tonight. With respect to Salford, games against them won't decide who's at Old Trafford come October. Lee Whitnell said, despite Salford looking off their game for long stretches of this match, I think the margin of victory flattered us a bit. On the positive side, Westerman, Ratchford, Clark and Dwyer were excellent. Yeah, that hooking combination at Warrington is always, in recent weeks, has been one of the reasons they've been able to win some games. I think it's really kept the pressure on other teams, hasn't it?
Yeah.
There's never a let up, is there, out of dummy half. Declan Patton,
and they do run the ball out of dummy half far more than any other team in the league.
Yeah, Declan Patton grew into the game, and Sandow showed us glimpses of his magic too. Hopefully he's getting back to his best. Paul O'Brien said, great start from Salford with Warrington making lots of errors. Could have been a closer game had the two Salford players kept hold of the ball with the line in sight. Warrington still don't look back to their best. Patton looks like a good player. Wire Joe got in touch, said, same as it's been for the past 6 weeks, no clinical edge in the final 20, after having built pressure, having to rely on standout individual performances to get us over. Have to give props to Atkins, having given him pelters in the last couple of years. He's really turned up for us this season. Tyler Casfan got in touch and said, why rack up 40 points when not playing all that well? Should serve as a warning to the rest of the top 4. It's an interesting perspective. Owen Hughes said, Salford's heart were not in it. Why deserve the win, but this was definitely a game lost by Salford rather than won by Warrington. We need to find a way to put the points deduction behind us, otherwise I worry for the middle eights. And the last word on this one goes to Scooch. She got in touch and said the play seemed fairly balanced in the first half an hour, but then Wire kicked on. I got bored and fell asleep during the second half. Like a bit of honesty, it's always the best policy. Right,
that's good, because, Scoot sometimes struggles to sleep, so maybe she needs to get this on a Sky Plus and throw the second half on every now and again.
That's it. We'll be getting an early morning tweet on that one, I should have thought. Although sometimes doesn't she struggle with just staying awake and not like randomly fainting? That wasn't Scoots, was it?
Yeah, it was Scoots.
Was that Scoots as well? So
yeah, that was at Magic.
It's not always the issue, is it? Right, Friday night then, and the Hull FC implosion continued over at the KCOM Stadium, leading 15 points to 8 with about 10 minutes left. A Callum Watkins double. I'm not going to say sucker punch, but a double from Callum Watkins. People must be wondering where he's been all season. Finished the game 20 points to 15 in favour of bottom-placed Leeds Rhinos.
Yeah, and
it is an implosion. I'm sorry, Hull FC, their bottle's starting to go, I think.
They were missing significant leadership in that pack, and Scott Taylor couldn't carry the load
Got it all
himself.
down, can he?
They had Ellis out and Pritchard out, and then on top of that, Minicello